Kirishima from My Hero Academia is a boy dreaming of becoming a man. He places heavy value on traditionally masculine traits like chivalry, courage, and honor, and strives to embody them. In a complex world where so many heroes have ultra-flashy and most times downright overpowered quirks, his relatively straightforward power, which essentially allows him to turn himself into a human rock, is a simple yet refreshing breath of fresh air that anchors him down to earth and perfectly complements his single-minded personality. Kirishima is the most masculine of our young heroes and lives by one iron rule: to be true to himself and live life without regret. To him, that means being fiercely loyal to his friends, protecting the people he cares about, and never shying away from challenges, even if the odds are severely stacked against him, which they often are. And that makes him one of the most respected young heroes in his peer group. 97% of people agree that the expectations of what it means to be a man has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. But was this change for the better or worse? Masculinity is a touchy subject these days, and it's a complicated one. But that can't discourage us from trying to understand it and fully utilize its potential. Half of the 8 billion people on this planet are men, and the radical shift in the expectations of what it means to be a man has impacted each and every one of them. And that's especially true for young men. Single-parent homes, lonely and depressed children shying away from responsibility, the marked increase in homelessness, crime, and mental illness in the civilized world. Why are the most modern, progressive, and looked up to countries in the West crumbling into shells of their former glory? Could it all have something to do with the shift in the masculine ideal? Maybe. Look, I can rant about this kind of stuff for hours, but that'll just make this video way too long and very speculative. Instead, let me give you 3 scientifically evidenced reasons on how masculinity in its pre-2000s form can really benefit your life. Reason 1. Masculinity can make you more respected. We can think of traditional masculinity as a combination of certain personality traits. More masculine people tend to be more disagreeable and more conscientious. And that's just all fancy talk for saying that they tend to be more ready to fight for what they believe in and are very dedicated to their work. And because of this tendency, the more masculine of us tend to get further up in the ranks of society and become more respected. Not because of any politically charged agendas or anything, just because to climb the social ladder, you have to fight off a lot of competition. Something that disagreeable people excel at. And you also gotta do a butt ton of work, something that the conscientious people are really good at. Almost every person in a powerful position at the top echelons of society has a masculine disposition, including the women. British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher was so disagreeable and uncompromising back in her day, she became known as the Iron Lady. Because once she'd made up her mind, arguing with her would be like trying to bend an iron bar with your hands. Like literally, just type into Google Iron Lady and her picture will pop up. And that's why when you see a truly masculine person, and I mean none of that toxic masculinity, macho, huffing and puffing, always looking for a fight kind of guy, you know the type. But when you see a truly masculine person in action, like Kirishima from My Hero Academia, who stands in front of his classmates to shield them from the bad guys because he feels like that's his duty, you can't help but respect them. Reason 2. Masculinity can help you find purpose in life. Okay, small caveat here. This one applies more to young men than young women. And I'm assuming that you watching are a young man, because like over 80% of my viewers are guys. So I struggled for the longest time trying to find purpose in my life. I went to school, got a degree, got a job, and a girlfriend. All the things that my parents and teachers told me I should do. All the things the people around me, my peers, were doing. But I don't know, I always felt that there was something missing. There wasn't a fire, a burning passion within me that I could confidently call my purpose in life. And maybe you know what I'm talking about here. I would wake up most days, drag myself to work, go to the gym, come home, and then play Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch and just piss away the rest of my evening. And that was the only free time I had outside of my job. Only to wake up at 6 AM the next day to get ready for my hour-and-a-half long commute in the cold, dark, and depressing British weather, so I could do it all again. It was absolute dread. And I know you're probably thinking, where's the science? You said there would be science. I'm getting there, don't worry. So after going through this awful cycle for a few months, I woke up one day and thought to myself, enough was enough, and went online to read a bunch of articles trying to figure out just what the hell was going on. And I found a sentence in some obscure article somewhere, I don't even remember where, that said something along the lines of, you don't start working hard after you found your passion. You find your passion after you start working hard. I probably butchered that, but the gist of it is this. Young men like you and me find meaning in challenges. We derive our sense of self-worth by working on hard things and overcoming difficult obstacles in our path. Literally, our brain's reward circuit, the ventral tegmental area, produces more dopamine, the chemical in our brains that make us feel good, when we're doing challenging things and making progress towards our goals. And you can only realistically tackle and overcome challenging things when you work hard. If you can solve every problem that comes your way with a snap of your fingers, then you're not being challenged. And if you aren't being challenged, then that means no dopamine for you. And it's even worse when you actively avoid doing challenging things and shy away from them the second they're put in front of you. And if this sounds like you, even just a little bit, then becoming more masculine will do wonders for you. Becoming more masculine, more conscientious this time, means to stand up and start building the discipline you need to focus on a productive goal and to push forward to make progress towards it, facing and overcoming the challenges in your path. And if that doesn't give you some semblance of a purpose in life, then I don't know what will. Alright, I'll be the first to come clean. I like women. Being attractive and desirable to members of the opposite sex is a pretty big deal to a very large majority of people, to the point where entire empires have been built selling women products that make them look more attractive to men, and selling men the supposed secrets of how to sweep a woman off her feet. Subconsciously or consciously, we all want to be desired and have options, good options, so we can eventually find our perfect match and live happily ever after. Imagine two magnets, one positively charged and the other negatively charged. Put them near each other and what do? They attract. Now, replace the negatively charged one with another positively charged magnet, and what happens? They repel. The same dynamic loosely applies to the laws of human attraction. Opposites attract, they say. Masculine men tend to be more attracted to feminine women, and feminine women tend to be more attracted to masculine men. Now, I say tend to because you can't easily generalize the sexual preferences of 8 billion people. But in my own experience and the experience of the women I've dated, this seems to be the case. When I was more feminine back in university, I tended to attract more masculine women. And when I subsequently became more masculine, I tended to attract more feminine women. And so if you're a guy like me who likes women with feminine features, who take care of themselves, have nurturing and compassionate personalities, then guess what? You like feminine women. And if you don't, and you like women who are more domineering, disagreeable, and don't really concern themselves too much with how they look to other people, then maybe this reason applies less to you, and you like a more masculine woman. So where am I going with this? Well, feminine women like masculine men. And again, I'm not talking about the stereotypical gym junkie who makes working out and watching football his entire personality. I'm talking about a confident and competent young man like Kirishima, who lives by his own set of rules and who embodies traditionally masculine traits like chivalry, honor, and tenacity. So if you want to be attractive to feminine women, then you should actively take steps to improve your masculinity. How do we do that? Well, this video is getting kinda long, so I'll just rattle off 4 of my favorite tips that worked really well for me. And I can do another video breaking each of these down if you guys are interested. Just let me know down in the comments. 1. Take your word seriously. As a masculine man, your word is your everything. People need to be able to trust you, and no one's gonna trust a man who overpromises but never delivers. 2. Be comfortable with confronting uncertainty. Masculine energy is all about standing up in the face of adversity, taking on challenges and overcoming obstacles. It may be uncomfortable at first, but in time, you'll get used to it. And the heat from all that pressure will hone you and turn you unbreakable. 3. Be conscientious with work. Aim at a meaningful goal in your life and push like you've never pushed before towards it. And 4. Derive your validation from your own actions. Masculine people don't give a rat's ass about what other people think of them. They know that it's their own meaningful actions that define their worth. And this last point is probably the most important one, because you can't truly unlock your masculinity and harness it to its full potential if you're constantly being distracted by your anxiety and worrying about what other people think of you. And that's why I made this video, which will teach you exactly how to stop caring so much about what other people think of you, and how you can derive validation from within yourself. So click on that and make what you learned here 10 times more valuable, and I'll see you there.